Hello, Christmas is coming. Today is Friday the 18th of December. We're on day 77 on the blog. Can you believe it? This blog's been going for a long time. Today I'm going to reflect on John 19 verses 25 to 27, which is where Jesus from the cross organises the care of his mother and also the care of his friend John. I preached on this 2 or 3 weeks ago, and in preaching about it, it was one of those sermons that spoke to me probably more than any of you, if you listened to it, because it was a sermon about empathy. I was absolutely blown away that Jesus would find such empathy to care for those away from himself, as he went through the pain of crucifixion, nails in his hands and his feet, his body racked with the difficulty of breathing, which is of course how you die as you are crucified, the mocking of soldiers, the crown of thorns jammed on his head, people walking past taking the mick, his mother and friends standing by crying. This was total misery for Jesus, and yet in the midst of all this we hear this story of empathy. John 19:25. Standing near the cross of Jesus were his mother and his mother's sister Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing beside her, he said to his mother, "Woman, here is your son." Then he said to the disciple, "Here is your mother." And from that hour the disciple took her into his own home. I've just got 3 further reflections that I didn't put into my sermon because of time. The first is, this is pure conjecture, but I think I'm right. I think Jesus had a prior conversation with John. I don't think, as he died on the cross, he simply thought, oh, what shall I do about my mum? I think Jesus was deeply related to his mother and had probably asked John. It's about prior planning. It's conjectural, the scriptures don't say that. But I have a sneaky feeling that Jesus did a lot of reflection before the event and had probably reflected on it. Forgive me if you don't like conjectural thinking, but it's a little thought that I have for myself as to how I plan ahead at this Christmas Eve and how I think about things in advance that I can think about. In this case, Jesus had thought about his mother's care, knowing that he would not be on the planet for too long. The second is a Tom Wright reflection. We'll call it Cruciform Theocracy. You can tell it's Tom Wright and not me. It's much cleverer than I would be. Cruciform Theocracy. What does that mean? Well, it means that Jesus was ruling from the cross. Theocracy, the rule of God from a cruciform position. As he was on the cross, his arms outstretched, Jesus is showing that he is the king. And he rules by asking his mother to go live with John, and for John to carry on looking after his mother. Jesus rules as a broken ruler. Again, it's a new form of leadership that I've got much to learn from, and we've much to reflect on. And the third is a point I did make in my sermon, but I'll make it a little bit more here. It's about kingdom living, kinship. I think Jesus, in his last conversation on earth, was telling his disciple and his mother how we might live, how they might live, how others listening to the conversation might live. John has written it into his gospel. Maybe we never need to be concerned in God's kingdom about the other being a competitor. We are to live in the kingdom of God without rivalry and without bitterness for when others have hurt us. We live with love and forgiveness. This is a life without love or desire that is not other than for the other. It is about always considering the other's well-being. I think if we can think like this about other people, we get rid of the battle of the sexes. We get rid of the new battle of gender that seems to be around right now. We get rid of the battle of social class that has been with us forever. We get rid of the battle of racism. In the kingdom of God, we are to look after each other and to love each other as brothers and sisters, as fathers and mothers. So as Christmas comes, folk, plan ahead, remember the broken ruling of Jesus, and live in the kingdom of God, whereby you think of the other's well-being before your own. Happy Christmas.